Hello, good evening. Welcome to LeadiaFest Live. We're now on episode 8, where we do an Explorer Spotlight with our special guest tonight, Christian Masset. Am I pronouncing your name correctly, Christian?
This is perfect, Joanna. This is perfect.
Great. Okay, so Christian is a trainer, lecturer, speechwriter, and entrepreneur joining us from Hong Kong tonight.
Hong Kong.
Correct.
Okay. So Christian has studied in Taiwan, then he continued his career in Hong Kong. He left a career in marketing with multinational companies in logistics for his vision to create his own pet-based education system. So he's a lecturer in several universities in Hong Kong, and mostly in French for business and corporate communications since 2003, for 20 years. Is that correct, Christian?
This is correct. Yes, correct. No.
And you started a company called Peak Communication almost 10 years ago now. Yes.
That's right.
And the mission is serving corporate and innovation startup communities on public speaking, presentation skills, and marketing video presentations.
Right.
So let's hear more about your exploration and what's next for you, and why are you excited about Leadia Festivals?
Right.
All right. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to say more about this. It looks to me that Leadia is coming at a very specific timing in the evolution of the world. We see every day on the news that the world is reorganizing itself. There was before the old powers of the West, and now the growing, very much so, growing influence of the East. And to me, it's a perfect timing, because Leadia certainly gives an opportunity to rethink, to reinvent, to improve, to bring together people from the East and people from the West, to make it simple. And not only that, let's not forget the South Hemisphere. Let's not forget the people from also Africa. And today the news is about a lot of Africa. So it's about all this putting together, and I understand that this is what Leadia wants to do, actually, putting together people of goodwill to contribute, reinventing, improving, bringing new, fresh idea, a new look. And to me, this is what Leadia is about. And when my friend, I'm not going to say her name, she's working with you. Let's say Veronique, for instance, told me about that 2 months ago. I think 1 or 2 months ago, two or maybe a bit more. I thought, you know what, this is something to really think about. And I like the idea. And since I'm a bit adventurous, I say, okay, let's go. So this is what Leadia is for me today. And I'm very much anticipating, what will happen in Istanbul and in other places in Turkey, to actually be with these people. I'm not sure where they will come from, but it doesn't matter. And have discussions and good time and thinking. And I think thinking in a relaxed atmosphere is the best way to do it. No specific agenda, but thinking wide. And as you say, you very often use the word exploring.
Right.
This is certainly the best time to do it.
I love it. You said a lot of things that are like popping up a lot in our conversations, especially the past few days with your fellow LeadiaFest guides. And you said because you're an adventurous person, you said yes to the call of Leadia. So maybe let's dive a little into the adventure in you. Can you tell us about your story? Like maybe what makes you an explorer?
All right, a bit. I can say a bit because I don't want to go too much into too long discussion. But let's say when I left Europe, I was 25, 24, 25,
25.
roughly.
Okay.
And I had traveled to Asia a little bit, and this was not, beach and sun. It was really exploring and look at not just the beaches. So I did my first trip to Asia was not Thailand, for instance. It was Hong Kong, basically. I had made a plan, and it was about seeing what Hong Kong was about. And this was in the middle of the 80s, my very
Mhm.
first trip, the middle of the 80s, and we are talking about the dragons of Asia. And this was about exploring a bit, but just 3 weeks holiday. So I went to Hong Kong 1 week, 1 week to Taiwan, and because I had the plan to learn Chinese, and I thought Taiwan was a good start, and it was. And then 1 week in Singapore, and seeing what life was about, dynamism, the dynamism of the social
Mhm.
life and business life. At the time, I was employee in an airline in Paris,
Mhm.
cargo airline, and fast forward, 4 5 years later, I land in Hong Kong with my suitcase, literally with my suitcase, no job. I tried knock at the door of some companies saying, I'd like to work in Hong Kong. Do you need someone in Hong Kong? And the French are a bit conservative. They say, oh, who are you? What have you done? And my CV was a bit atypical. It was not the typical CV of someone having done a big business school. I went to university, no, not business school. Anyway, and um, and I arrived with my suitcase and my typewriter and my fax machine. No kidding,
Fax
no kidding.
machine.
Yes, yes. Mid 80s, there was no computer. Okay, and I found
Actually,
a job in.
right.
Sorry.
Nothing. No internet. You couldn't search for
Oh,
anything. So it is
well,
really unknown.
I mean, it was
in
the start of
'89.
personal computers,
It
which
is
only companies could afford it.
so I mean,
Yes,
just to get into
89.
the mindset of someone, you said 5 years after your first trip. So you were in your 30s, early 30s, right?
Very
So
early,
what
very early, very early. Yes, 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 yes.
early
Very
30s.
early,
So what
29.
were you thinking? You pack your bags and move all the way halfway across the globe, not knowing anything, no job security, nothing.
Yes,
And yeah,
nothing,
what was
nothing,
going on in your
nothing.
head?
My adventure. I
Adventure.
guess I had a strong sense of I can make it, and no,
Mm.
that this is adventure. 89. It was the year 89, which was just before the fall of USSR, and a few weeks before the incident of Tiananmen in Beijing. So I
Wow.
found a job in 4 weeks with a very nice international Swiss company, Panalpina Logistics. And this was better than any French company because it was a big multinational. And it was fabulous. I learned everything about air freight, sea freight, negotiation, dealing with big companies, small companies, medium-sized companies. I learned everything about business, better than a big business school, much, much, much better. So that was my first, I would say, act of adventure, actually going to the other end of the world. And after that, time passed, and I went to another company, and my professional experience increased, my salary increased, And my second adventure was, the second leg of my adventure was to stop everything in 95, stop all the big business, all the working with big companies, stop the security, and start my own company. Which was not about shipping. It was about being agent of French manufacturers of equipment to sell to Asia. French manufacturers of actually kitchen equipment, kitchen and hotel equipment. So I had some success. Sorry?
Go ahead. Yeah.
I had some success, but not a full success because financially it was not a big. I forgot a bit the money aspect of it. I thought about my clients, and I wanted my clients in France to be happy. So I sold for them. I opened up market, but I didn't make much money for myself. So I had to stop the experiment. I said, okay, I learned things again, but I didn't make any money. So the third act of, I would say, of adventure, if you look at it like this, I say, okay, coaching was happening in Hong Kong, I got to know some coaches, local people trained with Americans, and this is the year 2000. Local people trained with Americans, and I was coached because I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to get back to a big company. I didn't want to be agent and take risk again because the patterns of business was changing. I said, who am I? Basically, fundamentally, who am I? What am I good at? And I found it. With coaching, with the help of some coaches. This is why I have a total admiration for good coaches. And what came out of that was that my talent, so many young people do not know their inborn talents. And this is so problematic. The young people from the age of 16, 17, 18 should get to know who they are and their own talents. They would save a lot of time. And I realized that I had talents in languages. I knew that, not new, in analysis, research, and teaching. I'm a born teacher. And I've been in education ever since 2000, to be exact, 2003, because I was still worked as an employee from 2000 to 2002, 2003, until today, 20 years. I am in education and coaching, but more, I would say more education. That means transmitting knowledge. And this requires research and analysis and psychology, understanding a bit how people think, and helping them to appropriate what they want to know, some knowledge, so it can be skills, specific skills, etc. So that's what I've been doing the last 20 years, and time has flown, literally.
20 years.
And I'm happy about that.
Okay, Christian, I have a question. In fact, that's very interesting for, I think, people who will join Leadia Festival. You said you had been in Hong Kong in early 80s.
Mid.
You moved there in 85, right?
89.
I moved here exactly in 89.
89. Basically, 89, in fact, is more or less the year computer age was starting through personal computers.
Correct.
And you have been the witness in Hong Kong, which is one of the financial capitals of the world. And Hong Kong is specifically more important because in 89, it was like that Chinese transformation time plus USSR transformations.
Yeah, big changes.
Like computer ages coming. So you were one of the closest witness of all the changes. So what made you to be alive, to be adapted those changes. Because in fact, that's really one of the specific subject which we want to discuss in Leadia Festival. We don't know the future. Nobody knows. Everybody is speaking. But the thing which we need to build, one, ability to adapt, ability to transform. Second is to build our close connections, close relations, close network, to be not vulnerable, to not be fragile on this transformation and adaptation period. So your talent is super important for Leadia Festival for us. Please tell us more about it.
So which aspect of it? Sorry, Corey, because there is so much. I'm not too sure how to start it.
In fact, you have three different things. One, not digitalization, but computer age was starting. So
yes,
from
technology,
classical side, we were moving to technology side in each and every company at that year.
Right.
88, 89, after 85.
That's right.
But also in Hong Kong, because of the specific condition of Hong Kong, the things were more changing as well.
Yes.
And USSR subject was more. So you needed to build a strong muscle for transformation. So how did you build it? How you had been on that competition?
Okay, yeah, now I understand better what I can say. First of all, I think it depends on, and I think it's pretty much around the world, having a good network of people. This is essential, because alone, nobody ever succeeds alone. That does not exist. I'm totally certain about that. And I realized that I've been fortunate to develop a network of interesting people I could eventually rely on, and some people who have helped me, honestly. Some people who have suggested, Christian, you could do this. What about that? What do you think? Maybe let's have a drink and meet these people, etc. And in Hong Kong, it's extremely easy. There is this aspect in Asia in general of informality. That means business is personal. And I like that extremely. Business is personal at any level. And I think this is one important factor. So I realize now, yes, I was introduced to maybe, I've been introduced several times to companies and positions and jobs. I have, definitely. So this is one thing. And this is why it's important to tell the young generation, develop your network. Number one, develop your network. Do not rely on your network for everything, because your network works only if you have worked on yourself. That means having good principles. This is basic, but this is very important. Having a good education. By education, I mean knowing what you know and what you don't know, and what you can improve, right? And at the same time, it relies on knowing first your strength, because if you know your strength, there are things you can do. And if you don't know, you risk losing your time trying something that is not for you. So I think this is super important. So when your network knows who you are, and then you know who you are, they trust you, and they say, so and so is looking for someone. Why don't you contact this person? And this has happened a lot. And I think in a more systematic way than in Europe, let's say. In Europe, there's some formalities, some rigidity, right? Which school have you done? In Hong Kong, nobody ever asked me which school I had done. Nobody ever, okay? It's a bit like in America. We don't care about the school you have done. What we care is what you can do and what you have done in previous job. So I think that there is this. Number one, the network. The second thing is to be flexible, to be pragmatic and flexible. So in Asia and in the East in general, if you're not, I mean, you have to be pragmatic and flexible. And to me, it's no big deal. Actually, I'm okay. I mean, I can fit that. I can accept that. Okay, that means in concrete terms, that means you may not be given the ideal job you want, but if it is the right company, you take it. You enter the company first. And even it has happened once, even if it's not you want to enter there, but they say, so far we have a vacancy here. Can you take it? I say, yes, I take it. And then months after months, boop, you climb where you want to be. Okay? So pragmatism, flexibility and pragmatism. I think these two things are super important.
Okay.
The network and the flexibility.
Okay. In fact, I will ask lots of questions.
I have
to
so
you.
many questions
And
also.
I think we will talk a lot in Leadia Festival.
Right.
Because one of the questions which I'm going to ask in the festival personally to you, and I want to hear all your ideas. If you're choosing the company or your boss, then I will ask more about how you manage that flexibility in Hong Kong. And the third question, in Asia mostly, your personality is your brand. So how did you manage to build your personality and your personal connections that fast in Asia? Because as I know, in Philippines, it's very important, like how you are connected, how you are presenting yourself, and there are some different etiquettes there. So how did you manage to adaptate that? Because as I know, the France structure, and on the other way, the Chinese lifestyle are very different. So I am so excited to hear that, but our time is off.
Our time is up for tonight. 20 minutes is really such a short time to get to know, but for everyone watching us tonight, you will have a chance to get to talk to Christian for 4 full days if we see you in Istanbul in October. So this is the reason exactly why we're doing the festival, is because we want to make space for these conversations to actually deepen. Like 20 minutes is never going to be enough. So maybe we can end with asking Christian, what most excites you about Leadia Festivals? It's happening in 19 days. We will see each other. Yeah.
Wow, there are several things I want to put in one answer, but let's say several things in one answer. Getting to know you, getting to know the participants, and of course, getting to know Istanbul. I have never been to Turkey. Nobody in my family has been to Turkey. So it's a big opportunity. It's an adventure at the same time, and I really look forward.
Okay, we are going to have so much fun. We are going to learn a lot, and we are going to build a lot together in Istanbul.
Right. We're very excited to host you. Thank you for saying yes to Leadia and for saying yes to this introductory conversation tonight. Yeah.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. It's a pleasure.
So take care, and especially thanks for making this call with us at this late time.
Yeah, it's
Because
midnight. It's past
almost
midnight
1
there.
a.m. there.
Right.
Thank you super much, and talk to you
Pleasure.
soon.
Have a great weekend,
Thank you.
Christian.
See you soon.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
See you. Bye.